Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237 and another episode of Room 237 Presents Reslashed. This segment where I take classic horror films, modern day remake, compare them, see which one was better, and ultimately see if the remake even needed to be made. Now, my last episode was incredibly easy to do because it was Psycho, Hitchcock versus Van Zant. Very easy. Probably the easiest episode I've done. And there's some reslashed episodes like, The Omen or Poltergeist where it's like it's obvious which one's gonna win, but none quite like Psycho. Not that much of a landslide or polarizing. This one is probably gonna be the most difficult. Like, this one's really gonna be hard. Because you have my fifth favorite film of all time, and my favorite remake that I actually really enjoy. Evil Dead, 1981, 2013. Now, this is episode 13 of Reslash, and it just hit me. I should probably do Friday the 13th, but no. Just rewatched all these, going through them now. I'm just going to do Evil Dead. So yes, I'm a fanboy of this series. I love all three films. I love the remake. I love Ash vs. Evil Dead. I have my Evil Dead 2 shirt. Haven't read any of the comics. I would like to, though. So, and yeah, I'm a huge fan of anything Evil Dead. So, let's get into it. First, with the cast. Now, I would say this would be a more capable cast, whereas I think these were actual actors. I don't think everyone in this was even an actor, save for Bruce Campbell. I think most of them, they were just friends of Campbell's and Raimi's. That being said, The Evil Dead the cast has more of an authentic performance. Yeah, some of it's a little cheesy and corny, like especially with Scotty. But at least I buy that they're all friends. I buy the things they say, the things they do. Whereas in this one, half of them got their jobs because they're good looking. It's one of those movies. And the characters, there's not much to them, save for maybe Mia. Mia's the only one with an arc. I did think Jessica Lucas did fine. Even the guy who played Eric, I think, did fine. But there really is nothing to the characters. Even the male lead, played by Shiloh Fernandez, I mean, he's incredibly bland. So yeah, the cast, whether they be actual actors or even friends of actors, it's more authentic and believable with this cast. So I got to give it to that. And I'm trying not to make this, top 5 placeholder, but bias. The effects. Okay, this is going to be tough. Because I love the effects of both. I love the fact that you can even tell that it's cheap latex and foam. And even, like, when Cheryl grabs the pencil with her demonic hand, like, you can see where, like, her real skin is and where the effect is. But I like that. It has low-budget charm, which I appreciate. The gore is really unbelievable and gross. Like, whether it's white, milky stuff being vomited up or spraying out of stumps. Or, really thick, goopy blood coming out of eyes with thumbs being driven in them. Or literally, like, a hose of watery blood after a stab. Or even, like, the stop motion that looks like, time-lapse video of, like, fruit molding. I love that. This is more realistic. yeah, there is some CGI, but when there's actual gore, it is practical. It looks phenomenal. It looks great. Whether it be the vomit or whether it be like when Natalie is cutting her arm off, raining blood. Yeah, I'm honestly gonna have to do a tie. I can't. You have two realms. You have really low budget but with the charm effects, and then you have modern realistic gore effects with the hint of CGI. Oh, I'm gonna give it a tie for effects. Atmosphere. This one might be a little easier. But the way this is filmed, sort of like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things or even Evil Dead 2. This is a shithole cabin. It's like even in the bathroom when it's like the walls are all warped and, a beat to hell cabin. But like when they're outside, it is pitch black. You can't see shit. And with the fog and just, this real autumn feel, you really get the hint of isolation more in this. It does feel more realistic in like a Blair Witchy kind of sense. This one, it feels like they're making a movie. But it does have that sense of dread and isolation in the sense that, okay, the road's flooded. The woods aren't as, foreboding. Like, it rarely even shows the outside anyway. Even at night, it doesn't really show the outside that much or just show the dense darkness. Like, when it does, it looks like movie darkness. Like, you can still kind of see around whereas in this, it's like, where your flashlight ends or the porch light ends, that's as far as you're seeing. I got to give the atmosphere to this one. It really feels like they're out in the middle of nowhere. Just that pure blackness everywhere. No, not to say this film looks bad, because this one does look pretty good. The scares. Okay. This one has a lot of jump scares, which, to me, is the cheapest kind of scare. I mean, yeah, this one has, like, when Cheryl first turns and she's guessing the numbers and suits of the playing cards, and she, like, turns around. But at least this one is, I don't really want to say methodical, because, like, when I say methodical scares, I think of, like, The Shining or Rosemary's Baby, or even The Exorcist. This is just more of, like, a creep factor. Like, when Linda turns, she's just kind of sitting there, smiling and giggling. It's definitely more of a creep factor, and this is more of like an unsettling scare. Like the noises the possessed make, or like when Shelly gets stabbed and she just has that, ear-piercing, almost like, because like when they scream, it sounds like layers of screams. And it's just like, oh, like for like ever. That really long ass scream when she gets stabbed in the back. This does have a lot of jump scares. And, I mean, there are like suspenseful scares, like when Eric is in the bathroom checking on Olivia, who's in the dark corner carving her face off. And there's just that dim flickering light. So yeah, there's scenes like that. Or like when Natalie falls down in the cellar and you just see the little tiny rays of light from like the cracks in the floor as Mia like crawls towards her. This might even be a tie as well, because where this one doesn't really have the jump scares and it's more unsettling and creepy, whereas this one tries to be more in your face. there is a lot of boo, you're scared now, but there is just, also, I was gonna say, like, when Natalie gets possessed and she has the nails shot into her face and she's just kind of walking up, like, she has a nail gun, so you're just kind of waiting for it. I guess suspenseful. I'm gonna have to give this one a tie as well. Granted, excuse me, I hate when people say granite, like the stone granite. Granted, the grittiness and the quality of picture and like the shaky cam, like the really low budget visceral rawness of this does sort of make everything a little bit more authentic. So I don't really want to say a tie. I'm gonna have to say a tie again. I really don't know. They're both scary for different reasons, but equally effective, I think. Killer, so I guess the possessed people. They're definitely more zombie-like in this. They look more like zombies when they do scream. It is sort of like a 28 Days Later or Zombieland kind of scream. There is a lot of cliches when they do talk. Either they're saying really filthy, disturbing things, like, your sister's being raped in hell. Or, the whole, pretty much doing Reagan from The Exorcist. Or when it's not that, it's other cliches, like, he's coming. Or, I'll eat your soul. This one had, I would say they're a bit more, verbally a little bit more malicious. Like when Shelly falls and her head's in the fire and Scotty pulls her out, she's like, oh, dang, I don't know what I would have done on those hot coals burning my pretty face. The effect, like the look of the possessed is a little bit more effective in this. Not saying anything bad about them in this, because they do look equally great, maybe a little bit more effective. Well, there is a lot of like moaning and like demonic sounds and kind of laughing, which there kind of is in this, but there's also that thing they do about how they're always like twitching and like kind of snapping their necks. That's kind of different. And they really fuck people up in this one. I might have to give, if I had to be in a room with one or the other, I think I'd rather deal with these ones than these ones as far as the possessed goes. Oh, one thing I should have said when it comes to cast, this one has Bruce Campbell. So that's kind of a dead giveaway as well. The score, this one does have some good musical cues, like, like when Eric finally dies, or when David's burying Mia. It has some good soft music parts. Or like when Natalie's possessed and you have like that Joker Scar story, like siren, like building up. This one is more like a Chainsaw Massacre kind of sound effect kind of score, like sort of like, or even like kind of goosebumpsy, dare I say, for lack of a better reference. It's like, whoa. They're not really score-driven films, they're not like a Carpenter movie per se. More effective as a whole. I would say this probably has a better score, but as far as going well with the film and being more effective and scary, I would say this one. So, I mean, I do like this film better. I do. Because, like I said, this isn't my top 5. This is my 5th favorite movie of all time. This just happens to be my favorite remake. So yeah, I would say this one is still better. But when it comes to, like, necessity, like, did it deserve to be remade or reboot? Obviously, initially I'm going to say no. But with what this film did, I think it's pretty fair. It doesn't completely rip this one off. I mean, if you think, group of friends go out to a cabin in the woods for, a fun weekend. They find this book and this tape recorder. They play it. It says these words from this ancient text, this ancient Sumerian text that releases, this evil that possesses them all one by one. This one is essentially the same thing, but it's a group of friends who take the lead girl, who's a drug addict. It's a last-ditch effort to get sober. They take her out there to detox and to just kind of help her through it. And then the same thing kind of happens. And the first girl to get possessed, like the one that's in the cellar the whole time, she's actually the survivor. She's the one that gets away. Unlike in this one. And this one has, the memorable character Ash, who's the good guy. This one and has been the character throughout the whole series, everything Evil Dead. He's like the Herbert West, like what Herbert West is to Reanimator, he is to Evil Dead. This movie didn't try to do that. They didn't try to figure out a way to get Bruce Campbell in there, or recast Ash, or shoehorn Ash in there somehow. Yeah, he's in the end credits scene, but he just says groovy. So yeah, I mean, everything fans really respect in this movie they leave alone. They take what they need to, cabin, book, woods, possession. Really all they need. And they do, and gore. Tons of gore. All you really need to take from Evil Dead for it to be called Evil Dead, but it still does its own thing. So yeah, I think it's completely fair. It's not a ripoff. It doesn't shit on the name Evil Dead or shit on, the film. And that's also why it's my favorite. On top of just being a really, I think, a decently made film, even as a standalone film. I really enjoy it. So yeah, I would say, I do like this one better, but as far as from original to remake and whether it deserved to be made, this is as good as it's going to get, in my opinion. I mean, Dawn of the Dead is close, but, so yeah. That is Evil Dead. Possibly the most positive episode you're ever going to see. But anyway, thank you for watching.